The roar of an engine, the gleam of chrome against steel, and the unmistakable silhouette of a classic motorcycle. These aren't just vehicles, they're mechanical masterpieces that have stood the test of time. Today, we're counting down the 10 most reliable vintage motorcycles ever built, machines that weren't just powerful, but practically bulletproof. Let's start with a legend that changed everything: the 1969 Honda CB750. This wasn't just another motorcycle launch, it was a revolution on two wheels. When every other manufacturer was still figuring out how to make reliable twins, Honda dropped a bomb, a four-cylinder engine that purred like a kitten and roared like a lion. The CB750's 736cc power unit delivered performance that was previously unheard of in a production motorcycle. Its two-valve transverse inline four-cylinder design became the blueprint for modern motorcycles. The engineering was so precise that even today, mechanics report finding original CB750 engines with perfect compression readings. Honda didn't just build an engine, they built a legacy that would influence motorcycle design for the next 5 decades. But the Honda CB750 wasn't alone in its quest for reliability. The Suzuki GS750 proved that lightning could strike twice. Released in 1977, this 748cc powerhouse wasn't just fast, it was built like a tank. With over 60 horsepower and the ability to hit 120 miles per hour, the GS750 gave riders something they'd never had before: Japanese reliability with European performance. Suzuki took a massive gamble with this bike. Known only for small-capacity two-strokes, they poured everything into creating a four-stroke monster that could compete with the best. At $2,200 when new, it cost substantially less than its European rivals, while offering superior build quality and reliability. The GS750's engine was so well engineered that many of these bikes have crossed the 100,000-mile mark, with their original engines still running strong. If you're enjoying this deep dive into vintage motorcycles, tap subscribe for more content about classic bikes and their incredible stories. Now, let's talk about British engineering at its finest, the Norton Commando 850. Released in 1973, this bike earned its stripes in the most demanding way possible: police work. The Interpol version became the chosen steed for law enforcement agencies worldwide. Why? Because when you're chasing down criminals, the last thing you need is a breakdown. The 828cc engine might have lacked modern features like electric start initially, but its mechanical simplicity became its greatest strength. The 4-speed gearbox was virtually indestructible, and the engine's torque delivery was so smooth and reliable that officers could spend entire shifts in the saddle without a single hiccup. The Commando 850 proved that sometimes less complexity means more reliability. The Triumph Tiger T100 takes us into different territory altogether. This bike didn't just prove its reliability on regular roads, it conquered the world, literally. In 1973, writer Ted Simon took this 500cc twin on a 4-year journey around the globe, covering over 64,000 miles. Think about that. A vintage motorcycle, crossing deserts, mountains, and jungles, and it kept on running. The Tiger T100's twin-cylinder engine and 4-speed gearbox faced everything from Arctic cold to Saharan heat. The bike's rigid frame and twin exhausts might seem primitive by today's standards, but they were engineered to handle anything. This wasn't just a motorcycle, it was a testament to British engineering excellence. The fact that Simon's original Tiger T100 still exists today, proudly displayed at the Coventry Transport Museum, speaks volumes about its build quality. But perhaps the most surprising entry on our list comes from BSA. The A10 Super Rocket might not have been the fastest or the most powerful, but it was built like a Swiss watch. In an era when motorcycle manufacturers were obsessed with speed, BSA focused on something more important: reliability. This 646cc parallel twin might have only produced 42 horsepower, but it would produce those 42 horses day after day, year after year, without complaint. BSA's engineering team paid special attention to the bike's cooling and lubrication systems, ensuring that even under heavy load, the A10 Super Rocket would maintain its composure. The bike's modest power output actually contributed to its longevity. Less stress on internal components meant fewer failures and longer engine life. While its competitors chased headlines with power figures, the A10 Super Rocket quietly built a reputation as one of the most dependable motorcycles of its era. Now for the remaining 5 motorcycles that defined reliability in the vintage era. These aren't just survivors, they're the machines that set the standard for durability. The Honda CB450 Black Bomber might sound like a fighter jet, but its reliability was anything but explosive. Released in 1965, this was Honda's first serious attempt at cracking the mid-capacity market dominated by British bikes. The CB450's calling card wasn't just its performance, it was its clockwork reliability. Honda's engineers developed a sophisticated two-cylinder engine that featured an electric starter, a novelty at the time that worked flawlessly. The engine's design was revolutionary, featuring dual overhead cams and reliable electrical components that put its British competitors to shame. Even the torsion valve springs, a unique feature for the time, proved incredibly durable. The only maintenance requirement? An oil change every 1,500 miles. That's it. 60 years later, running black bombers still appear at vintage bike meets, their engines ticking over as smoothly as they did in 1965. While the bike did have some minor issues, a heavy frame and some vibration, the engine's reliability set new standards for what motorcyclists could expect from their machines. Harley-Davidson enters our list with the XL Sportster, a bike that helped save the company during the post-World War II British invasion. Launched in 1957, the Sportster broke new ground with its compact V-twin engine featuring reliable cast-iron cylinder heads. Unlike the temperamental aluminum panhead engines of earlier models, the Sportster's power plant was built to last. The innovation didn't stop at the engine. Its smaller components and lightweight properties made it perfect for customization, leading to countless reliable variants. In dirt track racing, the Sportster proved its worth with an unconventional right-hand side shifter that gave it an advantage on anti-clockwise circuits. The proof of its reliability? Many original 1957 Sportsters are still running today, and the model's durability was so legendary that Harley kept the basic design for decades. Even in modern Harley-Davidson showrooms, you'll find the Sportster's DNA in the latest models, a testament to its bulletproof engineering. But if you want to talk about engineering excellence, you can't ignore BMW's R755. Built in the brand new Spandau facility in Berlin during the early 1970s, this motorcycle featured the legendary Airhead Boxer twin engine. The horizontal cylinder layout wasn't just for show, it provided superior cooling and perfect balance. BMW's engineers had refined this design since 1923, and by the 1970s, they had perfected it. The shaft drive eliminated chain maintenance, while the low center of gravity made it incredibly stable. The R755's engineering was so precise that even the kickstart mechanism rarely needed use. The electric starter was nearly foolproof. These bikes weren't just reliable, they were practically immortal. Many R755s have logged over 200,000 miles on their original engines, with some dedicated owners reporting even higher mileage. The bike's fuel delivery system was simple yet effective, and its electrical system was robust enough to handle additional accessories without strain. The Velocette Venom proves that reliability isn't just about lasting long, it's about performing consistently under pressure. This 500cc British single-cylinder bike set a world record that still stands today, running at over 100 miles per hour for 24 straight hours. Think about that level of engineering precision. The same engine, running flat out for a full day. Before the record attempt, the bike underwent 14 hours of testing at speeds over 100 miles per hour. No modifications were made between testing and the record run. This was the same bike with the same engine pushing its limits. The test bike covered 2,400 miles at full throttle, consuming fuel at a remarkably efficient 37 miles per gallon even at those speeds. 8 riders took turns piloting the machine, but the engine never faltered, never missed a beat. This feat remains unmatched by any single-cylinder motorcycle, showcasing British engineering at its absolute finest. But perhaps the most reliable vintage motorcycle ever built wasn't a high-performance machine at all. The Honda Super Cub, introduced in 1958, holds the title of the most produced motor vehicle in history, with over 100 million units sold. Why? Because it simply refuses to die. The Super Cub's 4-stroke engine and semi-automatic transmission were so reliable that they became the backbone of transportation across Asia. These bikes have survived decades of daily use in some of the harshest conditions imaginable, from monsoon rains to scorching heat. The engineering was so sound that many Super Cubs with over 100,000 miles still retain their original engines. The bike's price-to-reliability ratio was unprecedented. Used Super Cubs often sell for the same price years later, thanks to their legendary durability. Honda's commitment to quality meant that even the most basic components, from the frame to the electrical system, were built to outlast their owners' expectations. The story of these 10 motorcycles isn't just about engines and metal, it's about the evolution of reliability itself. From British craftsmanship to Japanese innovation, each bike contributed something unique to the definition of what makes a motorcycle truly dependable. But here's what's truly fascinating. These vintage bikes share one critical characteristic that modern motorcycles can't replicate, no matter how advanced they become. We'll explore that in our next video about why vintage motorcycles might actually be more reliable than their modern counterparts. You won't want to miss it.